Alright guys, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video we're going to do a 3-inch build, the Mode 2 Stiletto or Gizmo, whichever one it's called. So stay tuned guys. Alright guys, the frame and this 3-inch build is going to be the Mode 2 Stiletto. I love the Mode 2 Ghost as a race frame, so I'm going to use this frame. I've had good luck with the Mode 2 Ghost, so I'm going to try this frame as my new 3-inch. For the ESC, I'm going to use the Raceflight Spark, the BL Heli 32 50 amp ESC. Now Raceflight claims that it can be used in a 3-inch build, but it looks a little large for a 3-inch build. It does have the 20 by 20 mounting holes, so we'll see how it's going to work. I'm going to pair that with the Raceflight millivolt as the flight controller, the one with the on-screen display. I probably won't use the on-screen display, as I'll be using the Foxeer Micro Predator, which has a built-in on-screen display. Like I've said in my previous videos, all I need is my call name and my battery voltage. For the VTX, I'll be using the TBS Unify Pro. Actually, I'm sorry, the TBS Unify HV Race, a little bit smaller than the Pro. So this is going to be my VTX. As far as my receiver is concerned, I'm going to use the FR Sky RXSR. I hope you guys can see that. A little tiny thing, but it gets the job done. For the motors, I'm going to be using the Brother Hobby T1, the 1407 3600 kV. I have them on my Diatone GT-M3, and I love them. So they're going to be on this build as well. For the camera, I'm going to be using the Foxeer Micro Predator. I have it in my 6-inch Mode 2 and like it. It does have the on-screen display with the 1.8mm lens. So it will be going in this build as well. So let's get to the build, guys. Alright guys, now I've mounted the ESC inside the frame. You can see how large it is in the frame, how it kind of sticks out. But hopefully that's okay. We'll see. So the first thing I want to do is these points right here on the ESC. I want to go ahead and tin them up. My iron, I'm at 750 degrees Fahrenheit, so that should be more than enough to get these tinned up pretty well. Again, just adding a little solder to those joints. You don't have to, or to those pads. You don't have to leave it on there crazy long. Just make sure it just gets tinned up pretty well. And these pads are pretty large for the size, the 1407 motors that I'll be using from Brother Hobby. So just flow the solder. I'm curious to see how the Raceflight 3-inch flies compared to the Betaflight, which I've been flying for a few weeks now, the GepRC MX3 and the Diatone GT-M3. I'm just more of a fan of Raceflight as far as racing is concerned. So that's the reason why I went that route. So okay, got the pads tinned up. Now let's start installing the motors. I'm not 100% sure which way I'm going to actually mount the motor wire. If I'm going to go around, like on the inside, but we'll see. Alright guys, got one motor mounted. Kind kind of figured out how I want to run the wires around to mount to the pads on the ESC. I don't want to run it through the standoff because it will interfere with mounting the flight controller. So I got the wires all measured. We'll mount one on camera, and I'll do the rest off camera. So first off, once you get the wires measured to the correct length, go ahead and tin your motor wires. And again, try to tin the wires off away from any electronics, off away. So go ahead and tin these wires up. Once you get them all tinned up, you can go ahead and actually mount them to the ESC or solder it into the ESC. Alright, the wires are tinned up. I still have a little bit of solder on my iron. So let's mount the first wire. And again, I'm just going to go around like so. If you guys can see, but go ahead and mount the first wire. I don't use pliers or anything like that. I just hold it with my fingers. Because these wires are so small, you really don't need too much heat because you're not soldering all that much. So motor wire number 1, motor wire number 2. Missed that one. Clean off my soldering iron. Get some more solder on there. Motor wire 2 and the last and remaining motor wire for the first motor. And there you have it. So, motor number 1 mounted. And obviously I'll clean up the wires, I'll attach them to the arm, I'll pull them tight so they'll be attached to the arm and out of the way of mounting the flight controller. But there is your first motor mounted to the ESC. I'll do the rest off camera. Alright guys, there you have it. The motors are mounted. Clean up the wires a little bit. Because the frame has a little bit of red accents in it, I decided to use some red electrical tape just to secure the wires down to the frame. Just cut a few 4 small strips of red electrical tape and wrapped it around the arms to secure the motor wires. So there you have it guys. The motors are mounted to the ESC. The next step is to start prepping the flight controller for the receiver and the video transmitter. Alright, on to the next one. Alright guys, the next step is to set up these 2 wires for your receiver. This wire came with the millivolt in the box. This is the other end of the FR Sky R XSR. So we need to solder these 2 together to work with the receiver. I've already mounted the millivolt on top of the spark. So nice clean build. This wire here is for runs from the ESC to the flight controller. This port here will be your TX1 for your receiver. So I'll go ahead and set those wires up so I can get the receiver bound to my Tyrannus and set up. But the build's coming together, looks pretty good. I went ahead and mounted the pigtail for the XT30. I'm using the XT30 connector and not an XT60 because all my batteries are actually XT30. So again, looking at the build, looking at how the flight controller sits on top of the ESC, the spark, it's coming together. It looks really good. I like how it looks. Yeah, let me go ahead and prepare this wire off camera so I can go ahead and mount the receiver. Cool. Alright guys, got the pigtail done for the receiver, the FR Sky RXSR. This end here plugs into the receiver like so, and the other end, the TX1, just plugs into your millivolt like so. Not sure how I'm going to mount this to the stack. Probably going to run the wires around, and either hot glue it here or double side sticky tape it somewhere in there. Let me try to twist up these wires some. Twist up these wires. And it's probably going to be mounted some way like this. Alright, so the receiver's mounted. Let's get a battery, plug it in, and see what happens. Alright guys, got a battery. I'm going to plug it in. Hopefully no magic smoke. If everything works out, we should get some lights on the receiver and the flight controller. And alright, so the lights are working on the flight controller as well as the receiver. So let me mount this receiver in here somehow, and I'll come right back. So everything's looking good so far. So far so good, guys. Alright guys, so the next step is to prepare and mount the pigtail. Mount the pigtail for the TBS Unify Pro race. Sorry, the TBS Unify Race HV. So I just hot glued the receiver up to the top of the flight controller, and now I'm just going to mount this pigtail for the VTX and the camera. Again, I'm not going to be using the on-screen display from the millivolt, just because I'm not going to try to. I couldn't find too much information out there on the web and on Flight One or whatever Raceflight's new website is. I couldn't find too much information out there about it, so I'm just going to bypass that. I'm not going to use the pigtail for it. I'm just going to use the on-screen display for the camera, the Fox here. So with the pigtail, all it is your ground, your power, your red wire for the battery power, and then the purple wire or blue wire for your on-screen display for the camera. So let's go ahead and mount those. Let's go ahead and solder those to the battery leads here, your positive and your negative for the VTX. I decided not to use the on-screen display because I really had a hard time finding information about setting up the millivolt out on the interwebs. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to turn this around and mount these wires, positive to positive, negative to negative, blue wire or purple wire to the positive as well for the on-screen display. Positive to positive here. And then the on-screen display pigtail for the camera. And this build will pretty much be done. I still need to go through the setup on Raceflight's, their GUI or whatever it's called, and I'll set that up off camera, but we're almost done. Just mount the negative to the negative there. Clean off your solder tip. Get some fresh solder on here. And there you have it. I'll go ahead and try to twist these wires up, clean that up. It's actually just going to run underneath. Actually, it's not going to run. It's going to be on top of the stack. So here is your flight controller. The flight controller. Mounted there. And then I'll probably just mount the VTX on the top plate. I think that's going to be the best solution for that. Mounting or placing the VTX. So there's that. And I'll use some nylon screws, some nylon bolts, I guess, to mount the flight controller or secure the flight controller in the build. I don't want to tighten these down too tight. The GUIs, the gum mounts for that flight controller do a real good job of keeping vibrations out. So you really don't have to tighten these down too tight, these bolts, because you want that flight controller to have some wiggle room in there. And the last one. And there it is. Flight controller is mounted. It's got to mount the VTX TVS Unify HV Race. I'm using the Axie stubby, or not the stubby, but the Axie UFL connector on it. And I'm actually just going to mount it up. Just going to mount it on the top plate with some double sticky tape. That should be more than sufficient, and run the UFL out the back. So I'll get that mounted up, get the camera mounted in to the frame as well, the Foxeer Micro Predator. I'll go ahead and get that mounted in off camera, and we'll see what the final build looks like, guys. Just give me a second and I'll wrap that up. Alright guys, there it is, the final build. The Mode 2 Stiletto, or Gizmo, whichever one it is advertised as. But I just went ahead and mounted the VTX on the inside in there. Just double-sided sticky tape to the top mount. Got the camera mounted in there. I don't know if I like, I don't know if I like the how the camera, if you can see how it kind of sticks out. It's not really protected all that much, but hopefully I won't be bashing around and killing that camera. Camera angle is pretty aggressive, but I kind of like that with the 3-inch quads anyway. That's how my GTM and my GepRC MX3 is. They're kind of on the camera tilt on the aggressive side. And yeah, that's the final build. Let's actually get some weight on it. I don't know if you guys will be able to see. That's better. So without the props and battery strap, it comes in at 155 grams. It's about 20 grams heavier than my GTM3. But let's get some props on it and a battery strap and see how much it weighs all up weight. Alright guys, got some props on it. Running the Racecraft props. And went ahead and put the battery strap on it as well. HQ prop HQ prop battery strap, but the weight, the final build all up weight at 167 grams. So it is on the little heavier side, but I feel like in general race flight components are a little bit heavier, especially with this ESC. But yeah, guys, there it is. It's all built. I got to do something with this antenna because it was actually hitting in the props. So I'll figure that out. But there it is, guys. There is the Mode 2. It's built, the Stiletto. And next up will be some flight videos, line of sight maybe, and then some flight videos and see how it compares. See if it can give the 6-inch Mode 2 Ghost a run for its money. Thank you, guys. And if you like, this is the first time I ever did a build on camera. If you like that, guys, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, share. Let me know what I can do better in the future. But yeah, guys, first on camera build, I think it turned out pretty well. I'm liking the 3-inch quads, how they fly. So yeah, guys, stay tuned to my channel. Thank you.
You and me caught up in the sweat.